Formula is a wonderful medical food. In terms of overall health for the mother and the child, the healthiest product is the mother's breast milk, followed by donor human milk, followed by formula, but they're all wonderful ways to feed your child. Here in the United States, we have had formula readily available. We have safe, clean drinking water. And so using formula as an infant's diet is a very safe way to feed them. And in terms of your other question, the differences between breast milk and formula, did I catch that correctly? Yeah, so formula has a similar calorie content, similar carbohydrate or energy, protein and fat as breast milk, but breast milk, it's almost impossible to mimic breast milk. And formula companies do try hard to mimic breast milk as much as possible. There are some very special immune properties in breast milk that are impossible to replicate in formula. But for many babies who are formula feeding because of either maternal choice or the maternal, if there's a health issue in the mother or the baby where they were not able to breastfeed, formula is a great option for those families. So the formula shortage has been, in our community here in Sacramento, has been an issue mostly in the outpatient setting. I have not heard of babies who have been admitted to UC Davis Children's Hospital as of today who because of a formula crisis. I personally am an outpatient pediatrician, and I have been managing this conversation with my patients this week. It's primarily affecting infants who are on specialty formula. So that might be an infant who has very severe allergies or maybe some other medical problem, like they're have kidney problems or problems with their liver and they're on special formulas. So for those babies and their families, it's been an extremely scary time where people are switching between formula. They're working closely with the dietitian, but luckily here in Sacramento, we have not seen patients admitted to the hospital because of formula crisis. So for the majority of babies who do use formula, they're on a cow's milk formula. Think about Similac or Enfamil or Costco's version, Walmart's version. And the good news is that all of those versions are nutritionally the same. They're exactly the same. Sometimes some families can notice, oh, there's a difference, maybe baby's a little bit gassier on a formula versus another one. So certainly we want to encourage people to stick to the brands that they know and trust, but to just not feel worried if, hey, their preferred brand is out, they need to try another one. For families whose children have medical problems and are on a specialty formula, if their formula is not available at the store, that's when we encourage them to contact their doctor and talk about other options. Because sometimes even with specialty formulas, there is another brand option that you can try out. So my understanding is that our supply at UC Davis Health has been fine, and the supplies of infant formula to hospitals around the country has been fine. I have not heard of a shortage inside of the hospital. Certainly after infants, receive, if they're on a specialty formula, they've received it in the hospital. The hospitals are working hard to order that formula for the family so it's available for them by the time they get home. But there have been some issues with that aspect, and that's where we've been managing those issues after patients leave the hospital. So formula is a necessary medical food for infants, and so not having your primary source of nutrition could cause catastrophic effects for infants in terms of their nutrition, and could potentially affect morbidity and mortality in infants. And we absolutely do not want things to get that bad. I heard that maybe it was as recently as this morning or yesterday that the federal government has passed an Emergency Defense Act in order to increase the formula supply in their country. And hopefully very soon we'll be able to have a quicker way for formulas that have been demonstrated to be safe in other countries to be available in the United States. So that might be formulas that people are familiar with that are in Canada or in Western Europe. And our medical opinion is there's really no difference for these formulas. And as long as they're deemed safe by the Federal Drug Administration, we would love to have them available for our families.
And is there any kind of alternative that's not formula or breast milk that kind of has the same nutritional supplementation as formula and breast milk path?
Yeah, good question. So for babies who are 6 months and less, these are babies who like their entire nutrition is all formula or breast milk. And so when we introduce other substances, whether it's a homemade formula or it's, teas, waters, juices, it can actually be really detrimental to the baby's health and their ability to process their nutrition, have enough nutrition. Then also if we're introducing things besides standard formula or breast milk, there can be a dangerous change in the baby's electrolytes or salt contents in their blood that can lead to catastrophic things such as dehydration, vomiting, seizures, and even death. So for babies who are 6 months and less, there really is not very good other options. There have been online circulated copies of prescription formula or homemade formulas that people used in the 1950s and 60s. But we're trying to avoid using those older prescriptions until we've exhausted all of our resources and people have met with their pediatrician to discuss like, hey, there's literally no formula on the shelves. What do we do now? For babies who are older than 6 months, there are some other options that you can talk about when there are formula emergencies, and you can discuss those with your doctor. It might be short-term other options for a few days. So formula or breast milk composes the primary nutrition source for babies for the first year of their life. It's their sole nutrition source for the first 6 months of life. And then people start to introduce complementary foods. Think about baby purees and baby foods. And then between 6 months to 12 months, as babies get more and more able to feed themselves and enjoy table foods, the importance of formula or breast milk as a part of their nutrition diminishes over time. The World Health Organization recommends breastfeeding for the first 2 years of baby's life. So you can continue to breastfeed for as long as it works for mother and baby. But for formula, you can actually stop formula at 12 months and switch to cow's milk. I just want to let the people of Sacramento know that if you are experiencing a formula emergency and you have no access to formula and no way to feed your baby, please contact your pediatrician. It is a medical emergency and we don't want you facing that problem alone. Absolutely reach out to your community, your places of worship, your friends on social media. You might be surprised to find how many people are willing to help.